Excellent. Okay, now it's time for our top 10. There's more out there than just...
Are we not on camera 1 only?
No, you're on 2.
Camera 2.
These are the only 2 cameras.
Oh, those are...
So, yeah.
My bad.
We have our shit together on Fanservice set, not like ladies, you just kind of see the pants. Oh my
Hey, Gavin, look below the table.
That's what I did earlier, but you didn't do it.
I'll count down from 5. Ready? 5, 4,
Four,
3, 2.
Well, that was an entertaining bit of fun we had with our with talking about D&D movie. But you know what?
Honestly, that's my favorite thing to do.
Yes.
We've done that plenty of times.
Yes. But right now we have more than just D&D, and me and Courtney are going to go through our top 10 systems settings that aren't just D&D.
Systems and settings.
Systems and settings. So our number 10, we're going to start off with Courtney.
Mutants and Masterminds. Honestly, think X-Men, Marvel, DC, all that kind of combined into a really good, solid, super-powered campaign setting. It has its own?
Has its own dice setting system, and the Mutant Master Side system is pretty easy and quick to learn.
Very easy.
It's also got a lot of different settings, a lot of different companion books, including a how to run a kind of golden age, 30s, 50s style superheroes.
I think early Detective Comics.
And everything in between. If you want a more modern, you have everything else, go for it.
Yeah.
Now, my number 9, for me, hashtag number 9, is Feng Shui. Have you ever wanted to play a extreme 80s action movie, maybe a Hong Kong action movie, and you thought to yourself, well, how can I do that? Well, Feng Shui does it. 2D6-based system using the stunt system. You can play anything from the big bruiser of Hollywood to a martial arts master who can literally dance on bullets.
Or the intrepid reporter who's always getting herself into trouble. I've done that before. It's a fun system. It
is a fun system. It's really easy. They have characters that are easy to customize and a lot of fun. Trust me, guys, with this one, it's an easy, fun game night. And they even have a list of movies you should watch to explain the best sort of movies that you could make as a role-playing game. Our hashtag number 8.
Hashtag number 8, Shard. Think anthro-mythology meets...
Indian mythology.
Yeah, Indian mythology meets anthropomorphism. It's got a very good backstory. It has its own setting and system. It's a very easy system to pick up. Very complex, very rich. I can't wait to actually run this. I'm going to be running it at ChupacabraCon, hopefully.
It's also made here in Austin by a group of gentlemen in Austin. The only real negative to this game is, unfortunately, it uses what they call shard dice, which you have to buy separately.
Or you can just use some regular D6. You don't have to have the specially shaped dice.
Yeah, but it does recommend using them. As far as the anthropomorphic thing goes, excuse me, sorry about that. It's not a furry game. It happens to be that these race has evolved from cats and bears and lions, and it's all martial arts and Indian mythology, and it's a lot of fun, and it's big and different. And we really highly recommend it. So our number 7 is mine, and that is All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
The game I will never play.
The game she will never play. But if you want a zombie apocalypse game where you're pretty much guaranteed to have no characters by the end of it, All Flesh Must Be Eaten is definitely up to your alley. This game even encourages players to make 3 or 4 characters at character creation because they will literally die. The other fun thing about All Flesh Must Be Eaten is there are lots and lots and lots of companion books. Even pro wrestling, pirates, ninjas, and Asian mythology, and all sorts of weird things, including a bizarre game show where you are contestants trying to survive in a zombie outbreak in a kind of gladiatorial-like combat. It's really cool. And speaking of cool, your number 6 is even just as cool.
7th Sea.
John Wick's masterpiece.
One of the best games John Wick wrote, aside from a couple of others. Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's got swashbuckling. It's got Pirates of the Spanish Main, if I can say words. This game is a lot of fun. It's also one of the highest funded independent role-playing game, pen and paper role-playing game on Kickstarter ever. This game only asked for a little bit of money, and ended up basically topping 3,000 times its budget it wanted. And it's won lots of awards. If you want a high-stakes swords and sorcery, but meaning a Pirates of the Spanish Main, Pirates of the Caribbean style with ship combat, this game is definitely up for you.
Best ship mechanics I've ever seen, in fact.
Yeah, yes. Speaking of ship mechanics and swords and sorcery, This game we personally love, and we've even done full campaigns for Star Wars by Fantasy Flight. Now, we had to be very specific to the Fantasy Flight one due to the fact that there are other ones, including the D6 one. But the Star Wars the Star Wars Fantasy Flight game is a lot of fun. And it actually doesn't base itself off damage, it's based how well you succeeded.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this one does kind of break my rule about having special funny dice, but they're not very expensive, so it's totally worth getting into.
Yeah, and it's super easy to pick up and play. One of my favorite characters I've ever played came out of Star Wars Fantasy Flight. That little Twi'lek dancer. She was amazing.
She used lightsabers and killed you.
Yep.
So yours is next.
Next up, we have D20 Modern. This is something like Pathfinder, the open source system like GURPS, things like that. No, GURPS isn't part of the D20 Modern.
No, D20
GURPS
Modern is basically anything that
thing.
uses a D20 to determine rolls.
Yeah. This one's super easy. It's more of a system itself rather than a setting. But it's so setting agnostic that you can literally write your own stories for this as long as you're willing to put in the work.
So my hashtag number 3, because we haven't hashtagged in a while, hashtag number 3 is Shadowrun. Dystopian future, got it. Magical beings, got it. Dragons, well, you should make a deal with one, otherwise you end up on the loose end of things. Did you like Blade Runner? Then this game is absolutely for you. Did you wish Blade Runner had an orc at one point using a railgun to kill a shadow beast because the shadow corporations sent one out?
Yeah.
This game is so for you.
Hey, dwarves.
Dwarves using guns. There's street mages, street samurais. You know,
All sorts of fun things.
all sorts of fun things.
It's what would happen if you took one of our previous systems and added in Blade Runner.
Yeah, basically it's high fantasy meets cyberpunk meets basically Blade
Ghost in the
Runner and douche android's dream of electric sheep. This game is really worth playing. The lore behind it is so in depth that actually each edition actually adds to the story.
Yeah. And then hashtag number 2, moving on, we have Castle and Crusades. Very similar to the D20 Modern, it's its own system, but it's not directly related to D20 Modern. It's got a lot of settings. It's very easy to pick up and play. Very D&D-like.
The wonderful thing about Castle and Crusades, though, is that literally all your character's information can fit basically on a post-it note. It's very minimal amount of on an index card. It's very minimal amount of information you need. It's mostly a lot about storytelling. And of course, me and Courtney's number 1, hashtag number 1, because hashtag Savage Worlds has to be in everything.
Yeah, Savage Worlds.
Worlds is our number 1.
For various other reasons, we're currently in a campaign for Savage Worlds called Rippers Resurrected, Victorian Steampunk Madness.
Savage Worlds is a system that has lots of different settings. Its rules are really light, really simple, and not very complicated. And because it has lots of different settings for different settings for a different system, it's easy to just take a set, tell everyone that the difference in the rules would be.
Yeah.
You have everything from a Victorian era, you versus the Freddy the Krueger style monsters, or Frankenstein.
On up to more highly modern settings, like they actually put this out. They picked up Rifts as a
Yes,
setting.
they have Savage Rifts. They also have they have ETU, which is basically
East Texas University, which is Buffy, the college years.
So if you guys want all that,
Definitely check it out on Pinnacle Press.
Let us know in the comments or whatever what you thought of our top 10 list. If it was kind of predictable I was going to have Savage Worlds. Also, let us know what you think and what your favorite setting is.
Also, make sure to tell Pocky to breathe every now and then.
That's true. So next up, we're going to close up the show and have a little bit more fun. So check you out on the flip side.